All right. Good morning, everybody. Joining me on the set, I'm Rich Winter. That's Jonathan Sam giving you the peace sign out there. Jonathan, my friend, All Nations football kicks off today. What's your mood like for that to happen?
Absolutely excited for the whole thing, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. We have talent galore in our area with Standing Rock and McLaughlin. And I'm just excited, to see them get going. We kind of know the teams now. We've been involved in what, 3 years now? Is it
Yep.
4? Yeah. So can't wait. Can't wait to see what they're gonna put out there on the field.
I want to ask you particularly about McLaughlin. You saw them yesterday. They kind of had a scrimmage with Crow Creek. And one of the things you and I kind of chit-chatted about earlier in the week was McLaughlin had a ton of kids out for track last spring. It was really impressive. And you know those kids. How is that going to translate onto the field for Mustang football?
That's the greatest part about it, I think, is that you see the kids are noticing now there's benefit. And then, you know, they made their team made it to the state track meet, you know,
Yeah.
and qualified. So I was so proud of them for that. You're a former track guy. I'm a former track guy. And you know the effort, you know the time it takes, to get in and to be one of the best, to be your team and your school mentioned with the top. That's incredible. And I can't wait to see, honestly, those guys that were running, they have ability. We know that already. They have that running ability. I'm talking about like Renzo and Cassidy. They have a little brother who runs Renzo's little brother. Um, So it's only going to make them better. And then I'm thinking about like for up in Standing Rock, Lance Bradley tearing it up now as far as running.
Yeah.
Cross country, he placed fourth in a meet the other day, and their team got second up there for Standing Rock. So I mean, our kids are talented, just ultra talented. We can't wait, to see what they're going to put on the field.
I wanted to kind of go through today's games. There are four of them today. Omaha Nation is at Crazy Horse. That game starts at Warthog Mountain. Winnebago is going to be at Pine Ridge. Teos at Lower Brule, and it looks like Little Wound is going to be at Todd County. I'm telling you, one of the games I really want to see today is Pine Ridge and Winnebago, because one of the all conference returning players is Antrell Harlan from Winnebago. The bowling ball from Nebraska had 1,170 yards and 20 touchdowns. Dude, I'm going to drop a bomb on you right now because that's how I like to do it. But Marvin Richards and Dominic Ghostbear transferred from Lakota Tech to Pine Ridge. And Kenny
Wow.
Pendergren down in Pine Ridge is feeling pretty good. He showed me their roster today. So I'm kind of excited to keep an eye on that game. And then Todd County, Little One, some great athletes in that one. I'm excited for that.
Wow. Wow.
I know. I almost want
That's
to play the Gap
incredible.
Band or something. Like I dropped a bomb on you, man. Like that. That's
That's
pretty
that,
interesting.
that's absolutely incredible as far as like being able to add to your team and you have explosiveness from what you have already. That's incredible. Wow.
I know.
Now
Little.
I'm letting that formulate. I'm letting that kind of melt in and what that's going to look like on the field. That's
Yeah.
weaponry. That is just pure weaponry being added to something that was already there. Like, wow.
I wanted to kind of run.
Incredible.
I wanted to run through the All Nations All Conference players that are returning, and we could just real quickly. Ty Valandra, the running back from Todd County, had about 1,200 yards last year, 17 touchdowns. We just talked about Antrell Harlan. At tight end, Marley Carpenter from Lower Brule is returning. He had 400 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns last year. Defensively, Joey Gherkin is a defensive tackle from Little Wound, had 42 tackles, 17 and a half tackles for loss, and 10 and a half sacks. Your boy from McLaughlin, Renzo Bullhead, last year had 6 kickoff returns for touchdowns. I love that guy. And he went out for track as well. So those are your all conference returning players. And I think some of the guys that we're going to want to keep an eye on this year.
Absolutely. I think the name of the game now, as the game evolves here for All Nation football, I think the name is now to figure out, are you going to stop all these people? You know, what are you going to do as a coach to try to slow down? I don't know if you can. I think the games turn into a track meet, really,
Well,
which we love. We
I
love it,
do.
right?
I do love that. And Lyle LeBeau has a couple kids over at Little Wound. Both are track guys. One of them nearly qualified in 100 meters last year, like 11.3, and almost long jump 20 feet, I think, like as a sophomore. And both of those kids are faster than snot. And Little Wound has a new coach this year. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that all develops. But I like what you said about talent galore. Galore is one of my favorite words. And there's some talent in this conference.
I like to think of it when we talk about Indian country and athletics, we always kind of are leaning towards football. I mean, basketball. But now, we get to pour in now. We're pouring into the mix. We get to pour in football, track, and cross country. They're kind of in the background, but now the kids are realizing that, I can put in a little bit more effort and get better at everything if I go out for everything. So we end up with a true native or Indian country buffet of athletic ability. You think about it, it's like if you could just, I want some of this, so sprinkle in some Renzo and grab, I mean, my goodness, there's just talent everywhere.
So I kind of wanted to just feed off that before we wrap up here real quickly. But I think one of the purposes of the All Nations Conference was to get kids interested in football without getting pounded by West Central or Canton, on a daily basis. And the one thing is, I talked to Bob Cornelli a little bit. He's got like 37 kids out, and I feel like numbers are better now in the All Nations Conference. No longer do you see teams that have like 10 players and that can barely field a squad because kids are interested now. They've got a competitive chance, and I wondered if you could just kind of speak on that before we wrap up.
Well, honestly, I think that's exactly right on the money or right on the head as far as a statement goes. I think we get to see they get to play the final game, a championship at the Dome.
Hmm.
And I know for where we're from in McLaughlin, we're tiny. We're a small community, just like everywhere else, and that growing up, that was the aspiration always was let's get to the Dome, let's try to find a way. And you're right, we ran into problems once we got out there into like playoffs or even hoping to make a playoff.
Yeah.
We would run into bigger teams with huge bigger numbers. And as a competitor, you wanted to get in there and fight and do your best and all of that. But when you're growing up somewhere with bigger numbers, more kids, bigger kids, it's tough. So you can see the kind of decline where people would say like, well, I'd rather focus on something else that we could be a little bit more competitive at.
Yeah.
But yeah, football right now at the All Nations was the greatest thing to happen, I think, to Indian country because of that, because it leveled the field. It leveled the field for everybody, especially like McLaughlin and Standing Rock and all the other schools like Crazy Horse. We saw what they're doing in basketball.
Yep.
And we'll see that on the football field, on the gridiron. They're just loaded with talent all the way across Indian country, and to level the playing field, because we can't pull from a pool. We can't pull from a community with big numbers. We just can't. But we get what we got and we run with it, and you're seeing it. It's on full display, and it's great. I think. So whoever thought of this idea and put it into play, I'm ever grateful. I'm so thankful for it. To be able to happen. And our kids were one of the ones that got to go and play at the Dome and ran up against Teos Pazina, and they're a great squad, and they're exactly what I'm talking about. All of a sudden they got numbers because
Yeah.
they could play in the championship. It's incredible,
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
And I love Teos Pazina. We haven't necessarily talked in depth about the league today, but Teos Pazina seems to have a good football tradition up that way. Mike Peters does such a great job. And I mean, I can't tell you, Teos Pazina is going to be contending by the end of the season. Somehow I know it.
Yeah, they absolutely will be right there, and the other teams are kind of getting there too, I believe. We love the fact that we traveled all the way down to Macy, Nebraska, and got to play football.
Yeah.
you know. As far as McLaughlin, we traveled all the way down there. We did it twice, and the last time we ended up punching our ticket to the dome. But you see that across Indian country, it really does, it's not different. You know, they're in Nebraska and they're having the same issues that we are.
Yeah.
You know, as far as numbers, the kids, but the talent is there, the will and the fight, the drive, all that is there. I just love our kids competing. You know, I love our kids having the opportunity. You know, so I'm excited about it. I know, Rich, we're gonna get to be there. Hopefully, we get to be there in Vermilion to do that final game. You know,
Yeah.
but to watch the whole progress and how it unfolds and you know, it's exciting. It reminds me of like big time college football or I'm gonna go far and say NFL, but you see the lead up to it where kids are actually games are meaningful.
Yeah.
You know, they mean something. So yeah.
Well, Jonathan, my brother from another mother, we don't have it all figured out yet, but you and I are going to be doing something every week, kind of similar to this, but with video and talking about native sports all across South Dakota. So until then, we're going to call it a day. All Nations football gets going today, and I am super fired up. I'll give you the last word, sir.
All right. Hey kids, get out there, hustle, work hard, you know, give it everything you got, kids, and you're paying attention to this and you see this. I wish you all good luck out there in All Nations. And we hope to see you, you know. Please, you know, be good sport, be good at we know that already. You know, you're gonna give everything, you're gonna give all your effort. And this is all for the communities and all for our families and homes and you know, everybody involved. But the way it looks from the outside, you're looking in, man, it's great. And we love the effort and we thank you for all of it, you know, guys. So all the teams out there work hard and we hope to see you in Vermilion, you know. That's the goal. Good luck, guys. Play hard. Let's get it.